If you look in the news and you just search for hacked, you're often going to come up with a lot of different news articles about companies that have been recently hacked. And so a company that was recently hacked was Adobe. Adobe got hacked, millions of customers' data compromised. And if we just search for hacked at the news, what do we come up with? Google Malaysia site DNS hacked. Wow. Credit claim by team. Google got hacked. Um, you know, uh, Syrian electronic army. That's interesting. So anyhow, you might wonder to yourself, why don't, if encryption is possible, why don't companies encrypt the information which is stored on their databases? And the reason why they don't do that is because every time you encrypt something and unencrypt something, that takes a little bit of processing power and a little bit of time. And they need their databases, their websites to run quickly. And so while on one side, it would be advantageous from a security standpoint, every time something went into the database, we just jumbled it. And every time it came out, we had the technology to unjumble it. That way, if anybody ever got access to our database, they would only see jumbled information there. No big deal. And but that's a good thing to do from a security standpoint. But from a usability standpoint, you want to make your site or your application run quickly. Your site, you want to make your site run quickly. And every time you encrypt something and unencrypt it, that takes a micro fraction of a second. But if you do that millions of times every minute, that's really going to slow things down. And so companies look to do security in other ways. And, you know, right, they'll have firewalls, they'll have different levels of protection to prevent people from hacking into them, but still they get hacked. So it's just something that's kind of interesting to think about, again, from a database e-commerce kind of perspective, databases, e-commerce websites perspective. Why don't they encrypt the information on their databases? And so the reason they don't is because it results in a performance lag. And so it's just kind of interesting, this entire realm of security. If you're going to be running an e-commerce website, you got to think about the database and how do you store everything. And you have critical customer information in there, and you don't want to lose it. So what security measures do you take? Because there's a lot of people, there's a lot of people that are out there hacking, and hacking is actually becoming a new form of a new weapon in the world that people can use against each other, whether it's for corporate espionage or if it's for espionage between countries, And so countries are always hacking each other. Corporations, I would speculate, are hacking each other to a certain extent, just sort of like reverse engineering. So that's kind of the world we live in now. And encrypting sensitive data in transmission is something that always gets done, HTTPS. But what about in storage? And so why wouldn't they do it in storage? And the reason they don't do it in storage is because it leads to a lag. And then you read about all these different companies getting hacked. I'm not quite sure actually, why how big of a lag that would be, because it seems like that would be really advantageous if everything was just encrypted in the database. Or maybe they would encrypt sensitive information like credit cards, social security number, maybe also just like address, like your house address and your phone number. That way, if people got the information, it would be jumbled. So I think that'd be actually a good thing to do. We could search Google for database encryption load, right? See what comes up. Add database encryption load section to my Google News homepage. No, that's not what I want. I want to search the web for that. Ensuring highly available and scalable data encryption. Available and scalable data encryption. Yeah, so there's interesting information out there. But anyhow, just something to think about. And if you ever end up in a place where you are responsible for a database that's connected to the web, you absolutely want to make sure you look into protecting that and securing it so people don't get into it. And one of the things you want to look at is encrypting the sensitive data, the columns with sensitive information, phone number, address, credit card, and what kind of a load would that put on your system if you were to do that. So that's encryption. That's a little bit of encryption and keeping customer information or your client's information secure in whatever databases you have connected to the web.